I couldn't be more thrilled and more honored to be with my friend, Kiana Elkins, writer, dreamer, manifester, um, all things beautiful and all things past, present, and future. And we are here to talk about Kiana's newest zine, Everything You Desire is on the Other Side of Shame.
Yay.
What a gift. So
Oh,
I have questions, but
yeah.
my first question is, how you doing? How are you today?
Gosh, I am so good. I feel nervous and excited for our conversation. I feel like my heart is about to explode because that was such a generous introduction.
Well, you deserve generosity and to be told how amazing you are. So,
Thank you. Thank you.
so
That's so
I'll pull
sweet.
it out every once in a while,
Thank
you know.
you. Yeah, doing good. Excited to be here. Excited to
Yeah.
be
I just realized I didn't even say who I am. I'm Oprah. I use she, her pronouns.
Yes,
I'm
you
a
do.
vibe. Thank you.
Yeah.
I have dimples. And here we go. Like, can you talk a bit about, before we get into like the deep pieces of everything you desire is on the other side of shame, what is your zine process like?
Mm,
Yeah. Like, how do you even down to deciding on a topic? For this
yeah.
particular zine, you mentioned your ancestors guiding you and giving you the words to explore. Um,
Yeah.
and so to explore specifically shame. But
Yeah.
like, how do you sit and like put this all together?
Uh, yeah, process. It is a lot of thinking, reflecting, noticing, and feeling. It's a lot of feeling,
Mhm.
mostly feeling. For this scene, I feel like the seed of the idea was like had first started to sprout um maybe like sometime in April, where I was like walking around my apartment and reflecting on past romantic relationships and the
Mhm.
dynamics that happened in those relationships. And I was just like, like a lot of how I was navigating these relationships and this decisions and choices I was making was from a place of fear and shame, mostly shame. And it was just like, oh, like that's an interesting realization.
Yeah.
um, and then had gone to Nicole's queer healing retreat and had like come
Mm.
into that retreat with the intention of like, for whatever reason, the desire I had at the time was to be more in tune with like the erotic, like just the eroticness of life.
Yes.
And so that was the intention going into the retreat. And so then during the retreat, during a like grief healing ritual,
Hmm.
uh, I say my ancestors gave me this language because it was like a thought that I had, but it didn't feel like the thought originated in my own brain, you know?
Hmm.
And it was like, yeah, all that yumminess and desire and pleasure that I've been asking for and praying for was waiting for me on the other side of the wall of shame that I had built around myself.
Hmm.
And like that wall of shame as a tool of protection, you know?
Yes.
Um, and then after that, I just felt like, oh, that's really, again, another really interesting realization.
Hmm.
And I wanted originally to sit with these different moments of shame that have happened in my life and to like excavate them a little bit.
Yeah.
But that's a lot of work. So
Yes.
I didn't do that.
You
And then like the
can't do
process,
that.
I didn't want to do that.
This
Yeah.
feels like that. No, doesn't this feel like an
I mean,
exhibition?
yeah, but it's a one situation, I'll say.
Mm.
And the pieces that are in this zine, I would say all of them just sort of came to me at different times. Like there was never a process of like I'm sitting down to write something or to do any piece of work. It would just be like I'm sitting on my couch and I'm thinking about shame, and then these words flowed out of me.
Yeah.
Or I want to tell this story, so I'm just going to tell the story to myself.
Mhm.
Let me record, and then this is the story that has come out of me. Yeah,
Yes.
it's been a process.
But it has been a process, and that's really cool. What is it with all of that, right? Like you're feeling your feelings, you are looking deeper, you're listening, so you have to like create a openness to your ancestors to make sure that you can actually hear them, and it's not being garbled up by a bunch of other gunk in the world. And so you're doing all of this work, and you put this work together, and then you actually share it with people. So, what does it feel like to share it with people? Folks who you know, folks you don't know that well, but you might be you know what I mean? Stranger,
Yeah.
like folks you've known for a million years, folks you've
Yeah.
known for 20 minutes, you know? What does that feel like?
Oh my God, I'm really excited. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, I want, I have a really deep desire for like the work that I do, the way that I use words, um, for it to be ultimately in benefit of like healing the people, like participating in our collective healing, like through my words and ideas. Um, and just in the process of being like, I'm working on a zine and then talking to my friends about some of the ideas I was sitting with,
Hmm.
I can see that work already happening just
Hmm.
with the like handful of people that I've
Yes.
been talking to. Um, and I know that's going to happen when I share it with more people.
Yes.
And the people who are interested in reading it or sitting with what I have to say, I think that they'll get something out of it. I don't know what, but something.
They'll get something. They're gonna
And
get a whole lot of something.
a whole lot of something out of it. Um, and I'm kind of a whore for compliments. And
A
so
little bit hoish, yeah.
I know that
Compliments.
when I share it,
Pro
they're
slut.
they're gonna come in, yeah.
Yeah. Because it's beautiful. Um, how has this process of sharing your zines evolved over time? From like, this isn't your first zine, you know, have things gotten easier? Have they gotten harder? Um, anything like that from the first zine to now?
Yeah. I think the level of production that I'm putting behind sharing it has changed.
Mm-hmm.
Um, the first zine that I did was the one where I was announcing the close of my business, Loving Practice. And for that one, I like made the zine and then I think I just emailed it to my like newsletter subscribers and that was kind of it. Um, but this one, I don't know, I feel so excited about sharing it. And like when I'm out in the world and I'm come across zines, I always take a chance to look at them and something in my heart just like glimmers and shakes. It doesn't really matter what the zine is about.
Yeah.
Uh, and I'm excited to have my zines out in the world and helping people have a little glimmer and a shake inside of themselves.
Mm-hmm.
So there's significantly more production around the sharing of this project.
Yes. Oh, what a production. So exciting. So like, was it a deliberate choice? In the zine, you share a story where you witness violence that involves your father and a white man stranger. Um, and right before you start the story, you mention this is going to have the violence in it, this kind of violence. And then you tell your story. What I noticed was the absence of trigger warning or content warning, like using that specific language, but instead you just said, this is what's coming.
Mm.
Was that a deliberate choice?
Yeah.
Okay. Will you
Yeah.
tell us about your thinking behind that?
Yeah. Uh, what is, and I'm in my mind right now, I'm thinking about this book. I don't know the name of the author, but it's called like Steal Like an Artist or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how a lot of this scene came about is like seeing how other people do things and then, oh, that's interesting. I like that. I'll adopt it. And so that type of like lead in was I had read it in a book called uh something of grace. Um,
Sounds right.
that yeah, it's something of grace. But the book, the author is like talking about her experiences with grief and how music helped her process grief. And so she is getting into a story about like losing her mother, and as going into that story, she kind of offers that same type of lead in.
Hmm.
And I think similarly to you, when I read that, I had a like, oh yeah, it's not a trigger warning or a content warning because I was thinking about doing something like that, but it feels
Hmm.
so plentiful, maybe is the word.
Hmm.
Um, Whereas this invitation of like, this is what is in the story, and I mean, if you choose to
Yeah.
read it, take care of yourself, right?
Right.
Um, yeah.
Yeah. It felt really striking, I think, because I am so used to seeing trigger warning, content warning at the beginning of things, at least the places that I move in. Um, and then they will say similar language to what you shared. You know, this is going to contain this kind of violence. This is going to happen. And I was like, this sets me up for an understanding of what I'm going to experience, what I'm going to read, and it didn't have to be kind of shrouded in you weak thing, you won't be able to handle this. But if you are, if you
Yeah.
can, and I still got a choice, and I still got an understanding of what I was going to experience, and it felt different. It felt better. It felt more like we were humans who experienced the world together. And there's not an amount of content warning language or trigger warning language that will ever, I don't know, mitigate like what's going to happen, what could potentially happen
Yeah.
by saying that. So just telling me this is what's going
Mhm.
to happen, I think shows the level of trust with the reader,
Mhm. Mhm.
that they know what to do, that they also have experienced violence and
Mhm.
pain, and whether firsthand or witnessing or anything like that. And it's like honoring that. Like, you
Mhm.
know what these words mean and you know
Mhm.
what to do.
Yeah. Yeah. I
Something
think
like
there's also something to like when I pick up a book and like I look it up online and they're like trigger warning, content warning, sensitive content for whatever.
that. Hmm.
I had a moment recently where I was like, oh yeah, I don't want to read books that have like child sexual abuse in them, right?
Hmm.
And so I'm like, yeah, don't want to read that. Let my little reading app flag the books that include that type of material. And then when I started saving like my favorite books from the past year, like a third of them did
Hmm.
include child sexual violence, right?
Hmm.
Uh, and so there's also something to like the trigger or the content warning also not actually setting you up for how how graphic something is,
Yes.
or the significance of, you know, like we're
Yes.
moved in different ways, right? We're emotionally moved in different ways.
Yeah, I agree. Because you were able to say a full sentence and not just a tag, like a checking a box to make these
Yeah.
things show up on the page. And so I appreciated that.
Yeah.
Okay, shame.
Mm,
One thing that's really cool about your zine is that you include questions for people to hold as they are experiencing your zine, um, things for them to ask themselves to start the movement, to start the change work within themselves. And it's really helpful and cool. I love a question as like a reading guide kind of question. And so one question that I came up with that I was like, ooh, I want to ask Kiana this because I don't know. Is what's a question that you would suggest people ask themselves to even identify the shame that they are holding? Um, and if that's like kind of out of pocket, what did you ask yourself to identify the shame that you were holding? And maybe that can help folks as they, because your questions were great. It was, you know, about what to do with the shame once you got it, but maybe some folks are on a different path of trying to figure out what is the shame.
yeah, 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 yeah. Hmm. A little bit, that feels like a hard question. My
Mhm.
brain's not putting together like coherent or succinct, like
Yeah.
here is the thing, you know.
Yeah.
What I do have is I often find that the places I feel the most resistance, there's
Hmm.
probably some shame or fear, but shame behind that. So in my mind right now is picturing the like, you know, you're trying to fit a square hole into or square peg into a round hole kind of thing,
Hmm.
where there's a like you have a shape already. You are whole already, you are complete already. And when we feel shame, part of the work that that shame is doing is trying to like saw off the corners of our square shape so that we can fit into the round hole.
Yes.
Um, and so it's like that resistance, right? Where does it feel? Because our feelings and our bodies
Hmm.
have, uh, I think that's a wisdom we can access more easily sometimes than like logic.
Yeah.
So logically, I might not be able to go, this thing happened or is happening, and I feel shame around it for this reason.
Yes.
For instance, the story that I'm sharing in the zine, I actually didn't know why I felt shame around it. I just felt in my body,
Hmm.
right? Like I felt,
Yes. An uncomfort,
mm,
heaviness,
yeah,
something that
yeah,
wasn't right for the form that you are. It was
mm,
pulling on some part of you,
yeah,
distorting
yeah,
a part of you.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly, exactly. Mhm.
Wow. So lean
Mhm.
into what is distorting you,
Yes.
figure out what that is. Um, and I love that because it emphasizes our bodies too. And that's something that at a young age we were taught not to listen to. Your body's not telling you nothing. I'm telling you to get in the car. I'm
Yes.
telling you to get out of the bed and get dressed and go to school. I'm telling you when you're hungry. That bell didn't ring, you're not hungry. Or I didn't cook the meal, so you're not hungry. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Yeah.
And so I think it's beautiful to return to our bodies and to build that trust up and do the work that it requires, that it deserves.
Yeah. Yeah. Because there's both our body. I relate to like the language of the body and feeling as
Mm-hmm.
like ancient wisdom holding technology, right?
Yes.
And there's a way our body is communicating to us, maybe both a like this is a way in which this environment or this circumstance is causing me to distort myself.
Mm-hmm.
But then there's also ways that our bodies are communicating to us what it is that we do want to move toward, what it is that
Mm-hmm.
we do desire.
Yes.
Because that's where our longing is, that's where our envy and jealousy are,
Mm-hmm.
that's where our anger often lies.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, so like our body's just sending out so many like communicative signals to us.
Mm-hmm.
And if we don't want to stay on the escalator of life, that like life path that was given to us or told that we had to be on,
Yeah.
then we have to do the work of listening to our bodies to pick up the cues that are coming to us from other directions.
Yes. I think about I think often about building up a different inner voice than the one that was given to me by folks who are hurt, were hurting, are hurting, were raised by other hurt people, other folks filled with shame, other folks who denied themselves pleasure, denied themselves joy for the sake of something in their lives. And I think of it as like I'm building an inner voice that is going to get louder than that other voice, stronger than that other voice, and have more to say about
Yeah.
what my body needs, what I need, what I deserve, um, and who I am and who I want to be in the world.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Mhm, mhm, mhm.
juicy, juicy. Um, so then, can you talk a bit about um, shame as a tool used by oppressive systems?
Mhm, 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 mhm.
We've talked about it a lot as friends in the world, and And that's in there too, right? Like when you address shame, when you figure out all the inner voices that you've been given, they're not all your mom or your father. Some of them are the teacher at school and the president and that the administration that said y'all don't get to live over here. You have to live in this area. Like all of that is also wrapped up in there.
Well, yeah. Um, all right. In incomplete thoughts, but thoughts.
Love and incomplete thought.
um, I'm thinking about like a lot of times when I've had conversations with people about shame, and even in my own experience, like the felt experience of shame, it there's like the thing that surfaces, the behavior, the incident in the past that happened to us that involved us,
Mm-hmm.
that we feel shame around. Maybe we remember that or something reminds us of that experience. The shame feeling surfaces, and
Mm-hmm.
it's really uncomfortable feeling to be with. And so we hide, we disappear ourselves, or we act out. Like there's some type of then behavior that
Yes.
with trying to bury the shame. Like there's,
We swallow ourselves.
yeah, we swallow ourselves. There's really like sitting with the shame face to face as like equals. There's like you have shame, if personified, has too much power. I don't want to look at you.
Mm-hmm.
You are reminding me of everything that I don't want to believe about myself. And so I must push you away or tuck you away. And when we do that to this personified shame, we are inevitably doing that to ourselves,
Yes.
right? You might identify or imagine that personified shame as like the incident that happened in the story that I told. I was maybe 19, 20 years old,
Yeah.
right? If I'm pushing away this shame that I feel related to this incident, I'm also kind of pushing away the like 20 something year old Kiana that experienced that thing.
Mm.
Um, and I think when we do that pushing away, that minimizing, the eating of ourselves, swallowing of ourselves, it completely like erases or reduce, at least really reduces our capacity
Yeah.
to show up and be vocal and speaking against the things that are harming us.
Yeah.
Because all the feeling toward the harmful thing, instead of being directed outward, it's directed inward,
Yeah.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Something that has happened, and instead of it being you or the thing out here, it's my fault. I did it. I was the bad thing.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I've been thinking about recently, there's like Holocaust happening in Gaza, genocides happening in Sudan and Congo, all over the world.
Mm-hmm.
And I see this violence happening. And then I also see online a lot of white folks in particular who are like, oh, gee, oh my, whatever shall we do?
Mm-hmm.
I think about the legacy of the transatlantic slave trade.
Mm-hmm.
And like, my God, what a shameful event.
Yeah.
What an absolutely horrible and horrifying event to happen globally.
Yes.
And so then I think about all the ancestors and now descendants who have shame around that incident and all these other incidences of violence that we're witness to.
Mm-hmm.
And we bury ourselves. We don't want to look at ourselves and the role we played in that.
Yes.
And so then we're not vocal about it. We're not able to like really show up against whatever thing is harming us, because the attention, it's like a self-obsession with like
Yeah.
conforming and controlling ourselves,
Yeah. And just trying to make it through.
just trying to make it through. Mhm.
Yeah. Which I don't think is good enough anymore.
No,
Uh,
no,
I'm
no.
not interested in just surviving, and
Well,
just trudging along, pulling myself along, um, because there's more than enough joy and love and peace and comfort to be had and we deserve.
Yeah.
Period.
Period. Full stop.
Thank you for that. The Towards the end of your zine, you talk about being essentially a world builder,
Oh.
which here you are, building worlds, and you talk about being an imaginative, curious child. How much and how important is imagination when it comes to doing this work around shame?
Mm. I think that I'm like pivoting. So I was like, imagination, yes. But it feels like more than imagination to me. It feels like faith or like some faithfulness.
Mhm.
And I think that having faith in something requires imagination, because the process of having faith is to believe in something that you don't know if it's real or not.
Yeah, it's not like I'm holding it in my hand,
Mhm.
but I know it to be true
I know it to be true for whatever reason,
for
right?
whatever reason.
And so if we are undoing this shame, right, that has like festered inside of us, whatever, however it's been given to us, that shame usually comes with a narrative. And it's usually a narrative that actually has been affirmed and validated. So like
Mm-hmm.
I have a lot of shame generally around how I communicate and saying things that make other people uncomfortable or that upset people, or people having big reactions to how I speak. And so I don't, up until recently, I wasn't speaking a whole lot because I felt shame around that.
Yeah.
Um, but in order for me, and I had that affirmed, so I would talk, people would have a big reaction. I talk, people would have a big reaction. And so
Mm-hmm.
that inner narrative was constantly being affirmed. I did have evidence. I did have the proof.
Yeah. And we're talking big, not positive, not
Yeah.
I enjoyed what you said, so I'm
Yeah.
crying and I'm so overjoyed and happy. I'm having a big, not big reaction positive. We're talking big reaction negative.
Yeah.
I did not like what you said. I didn't, it probably was true. I just don't like that you said it and that you had the audacity to say it and you said it with your full chest.
Yeah.
So I just want to make sure, I want to make sure we have that
Mhm.
distinction for anyone who
Yes.
is watching.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you for that. Yes. And so having these negative big reactions to me. And so I whatever inside of me has been saying, like, I have things inside of me that need to get out. And I felt a lot of fear around doing so, because what if people have big negative reactions to what I have to say?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But I have to believe, though, I have to cultivate faith, and I have to imagine a world in which I say things that I think are interesting, and people go, oh, that is interesting. And now it's starting to like create, like it's starting to shift something in their lives and in my life too.
Mm-hmm.
And I have to hold on to the imagination of like that also being real and that also being possible.
Yes. Yes. I appreciate that when you were finding the word shift, that you
Yeah.
started like actually shifting. And then,
Yeah.
and it made me think, it has to, it has to move. Like something has to move. And all of this shame, all of this harm and pain and unaddressed things make us so rigid.
Mhm.
Um, and we become so rigid that even the thought of doing this kind of work for ourselves and for our community, where we have a fear of breaking.
Yeah.
And so folks are like, I'm absolutely not going to do that.
Yeah.
I'm absolutely not going to do that. Because this firmness here, I know this. I've known this my whole life. This rock in my stomach, this tightening in my shoulders, I've known that my whole life. You're telling me to be free, and I don't get that. You're telling me I can be free, and I don't even know what that feels like, and it's terrifying when I
Yeah.
know this right here.
Yeah. That's part of the, tool of oppression thing too, right?
Mhm.
Is in some of my work trainings, I'll say like perpetrators know how the system works, and so they're able to utilize the system to their benefit. And there's not a direct one figure perpetrator that is all of the systems of oppression, but it also knows how the systems work and how people work. And so absolutely, if the thing that feels safe because it's known is the rigidity, is the holding on to a false scarcity or a false safety, we're gonna hold on to that. And like the folks who mean us harm, they know this. And so, and they know how hard it can be for folks to soften enough for the shift to happen, right? But the reality is, it's the shift. It doesn't require a whole lot of softening, actually. It's just like you give a little, it's like Jenga, like you give a little bit.
Yes.
And
then, oh, what the beauty in the falling, though, right? Like just that little bit of something, and it calls everything else into question. And there's what a gift. How do we do it together?
Oh my gosh.
How? And specifically because in your zine, you begin by talking specifically about your experience. By the time we get to the end of your zine, you are saying us. We deserve our community, us. And so, how do we do this work together?
What an astute observation. How do we do this work together? I don't have all the answers. The answer I do have right now, though, is there is this dance that I think we have to figure out how to do together. That is both the I'm going to show up as best as I can, authentically and vulnerably and honestly, in a way that still like maintains my own sense of safety. I will do that, and I have to trust that the people that I choose to do that with, that they will receive me like tenderly.
Yes.
And so when I was speaking earlier to like, I have a lot of shame around communicating and the big reactions people have to me. So now if I'm choosing to communicate with people, I have to trust that they're going to hold what I say tenderly. And the more that then happens, the more that I'm affirmed and showing up in the ways that feel shame-free and shameless. I am noticing that the more people who are moving through the world with some shamelessness, that it spreads, it's infectious.
Yes.
And I think it encourages other people to do the same thing of like, oh yeah, why? I don't know. A lot of people apologize to me in training spaces about having to leave the training early. And that's like a really small thing to feel bad about.
Yeah.
But, if this person leaves early because they need to, then the next person is like, oh, maybe it's okay for me to leave early if I need to too. We're doing this like permission giving with each other.
Yes.
And it's like the more that I give you permission, the more that you give me permission, and it just creates this reciprocal nature that spreads.
Right.
Yeah, and I think generally I think a lot of the ways that like violence and harm go unaccountable for or unaccounted for is connected to this shame stuff. Like I can't be accountable to you if I feel a lot of shame around the harm that I did.
Right.
And so the more that we're also in this process of looking at our shame and softening that, pouring with each other, the more that we're also able to take accountability for when we are actually doing things that are hurting each other.
Yes.
Which then again, just like again, creating another loop. Beside the other loop.
Yeah, because it's all connected.
All connected.
Yeah, it's all connected. And what a treat. retreat for it all to be connected. We already have like embedded in us a desire, a ability to fit. We have embedded in us an ability to do that. It's everything else that is telling us that we cannot be vulnerable with each other, that we should not trust each other. That person's going to stab you in the back as soon as you turn. So you better stab them first.
Yeah.
You know, that's the other stuff.
Yeah.
But at our core, at our most human, we want to know each other, and we want to be known, and we want to be loved for who we are, and cared about, and have someone think of me when I'm not around, you know? And I want to think about other people lovingly when they're not around. Oh, so yes.
Yeah. The shame stuff will have us running from everything, running from ourselves, running from each other,
Yes.
limiting our capacity to be with each other. It just really robs us. Really robs us.
Yeah. Yeah. And I appreciate you naming in your zine as well the like spiritual sickness that can happen. And sometimes when I read that, what it made me think of is that sometimes people can be sick for so long that they think this is healthy.
This is it. Yeah. This is totally normal and fine.
This is normal and fine. And there's no other way of being than to be sick like this.
Yeah.
Spiritually sick and separated from each other. But that's not natural.
No. Yeah.
Yeah. The last question I have for you, because you end your zine talking about us and our community and what we all want from each other and how we can all give that to each other. How is your zine also our story?
Our story in the sense of like our local, like our actual local community, you and I. It's our story because so many of the people who I've spoken to, so like just in passing, I'll tell people that this is a project that I'm working on, and then we'll just a little bit, the tiniest bit, start talking about the topic of shame. And then they'll usually share how shame is like showing up in their lives or just their thoughts around it. And while all of us have a different actual story in there, the general sentiment is the same, which is this like, I was something or some events that happened as I was growing up told me that I was not a good person, that I wasn't enough, that I wasn't worthy of love, that I shouldn't thrive, that the valiant moral thing is to struggle and suffer. Yeah. And so like there's all these messages that have shaped us. And I have yet to hear a person who does not hold some aspect of that message. And then these are also people who in the same sentence are like, and there's this thing I really want to do. There's this dream that I have that I've been dreaming of for years, but I feel so scared to take action on it.
Yeah.
There are these people that I want to be close to, but I don't know if I'll be rejected. Like that then comes into the room for them. And it's just like it's a universal experience, you know, and it's a universal experience because we're all suffering from the same sickness, you know, that is patriarchal racial capitalism and its offshoots and its children.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you for writing our story. Thank you for giving us this gift of yourself and your journey and your work and actually putting it down. There's something really beautiful and powerful about, like, not only do you have the idea, not only do the ancestors go and like make sure you get the message, but you actually do something with it to share it out. And that's why at the beginning of this, I said you are the past, the present, and the future, because you bring with you everyone, and you are currently here, and you will be here. You are creating worlds all around you, and I'm so grateful.
Oh, that is just that is just the sweetest thing in the world. My God. Oh my goodness. Yes, I think my hope maybe ultimately the like end goal aspiration for this project and all the work that I do is in service of our healing, because I don't think that what I do of this, like have the idea and then do it, a lot of people have commented on that.
Mhm.
It's not special. It's not it like from myself, it doesn't feel like anything special or unique or exceptional or
It shouldn't be.
yeah.
There's,
Yeah,
like you said, there's a lot of folks who got stuff that they
yeah,
want to do, places they want to be, and they just,
yeah. It's
there's that
yeah,
barrier
yeah. And I
and a
want us all
barrier.
doing it. I want us all doing the things
Yeah.
and being the things.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. That's so sweet of you. Thank you, Oprah. Thank you for sitting down, for reading, for asking questions, asking such good questions, for offering your own insight and perspective. I'm so grateful. Thank you.
I'm so grateful. Um, Tune in for more Kiana, more information about where to get the zine, how to access the zine as
Oh,
they come in.
yeah.
And yeah, and do the work, y'all. We deserve it. You deserve it.
Beautiful.
Yeah. Champion.